So here we are a couple of days later back at Glen Derwent, and the guys have started on the work and we're working on the conservatory, and we'll just go and have a chat with Phil and see where he's up to and what he's decided he has to do. All right, Phil, can I interrupt you for a few minutes?
Yep.
You got into it. How's it looking so far?
Well, have a look. As you saw before, this is our first casement. It's not going well. We're going to have to deglaze this, and the tenons are completely gone. So we'll have to deglaze it and really just reconstruct it. It's a very big casement, so there's a lot of weight, but we can fix it. We'll just put new tenons in and we can reinstate it. This one is one of the fixed panes, and as you see, it's completely had it, all bottom rails.
So you're going to put a whole new bottom rail in?
Whole new bottom rail, and one of the stiles is rotten in the bottom as well, so we have to replace that. So once again, we'll have to deglaze it all, make a new rail, and then put it and reglaze it. Right. But these are the worst two. The door, this door is, the stiles are actually very narrow for such a size door, but it matches the other existing one. So here, what I'll do is I'll get rid of the fillet on the top and completely redo this top. Yep. And then the bottom has had a very dodgy fillet put on it. So I'm going to extend both the stiles down and put a proper bottom rail in. Yep. And then this has had some kind of cat flap. Yep. So we'll get rid of that. Yep. Replace that there. It just needs an overhaul altogether. But what we've done is, because the opening was so rotten, we've created an opening a little bit wider, and we're going to laminate, particularly on the hinge side, laminate a bigger stile onto this side just to give it a bit more body to it.
All right, so did all the screens have to come out?
They had to come out. I'll show you why.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So, Colm, we had to take all these fixed panels out of here because this was just too rotten. As you see, we've put a new facing on this section through here. Yep. We've had to put a new corner in here. Right. But we've virtually had to do that all the way along. It must have had a leaky gutter here at some point, because this was
Liz mentioned a leaky gutter the other day. That was, and there was some vegetation growing up here as well.
Yeah. So all these two, one rail was about 3/4 of an inch or 20 mil out of level. So we've had to jack this one back up and bugle screw it all into the post, which is hewn pine. So that the post is in amazing condition. They're all hewn pine. And then just put an infill piece here, but this was rotted right through, and you can still see it's rotted underneath. I have to replace a bit of board there. So there's two lots of fillets there and a nosing, and then here you can see we've had to put fillets in this. It was too good to replace, so we wanted to leave the original material, but we just put the new fillets in, and we were lucky she's got a lot of timber here that is the right age and the right material, so we've used
around in the stable?
Yeah, around in the stable. Yeah. So we've put the original timber back in, or as close as we can. And this part here was cupped, so it was holding water. All this section here was like a little well. So we wire brushed it all out, and we've put a skim coat, quite a thick skim coat of 2-part epoxy, right the way through. You can see it from end to end to stop the water from holding in there. But it's the best part of 2 days' labour for a guy. Yep. It's been a lot of work.
And then this door needed a bit of attention.
This door has been a bit of a nightmare. When we first looked at it, we thought we'd just, fix the door and rehang it. This one here was completely rotten all the way through.
The frame.
Frame. That section there was okay, but here it had been replaced at some point with, I think, radiator pine. It was just complete rubbish. So we just pulled it out. And this section in here had rotted. It's where this is checked in. So we've had to replace this. But of course, when we were doing that, the threshold was completely rotted out, so we've had to pull that out. So the job has just gone on and on.
So you've been keeping Liz informed as each thing goes?
Yeah, I drag her out, and she must be sick of looking at me and say, what do you want to do? But she really wants a good job. She said, just replace it. And
so she's happy to get it fixed properly. And,
No,
well, that's the trouble with these old jobs, is that you don't know where they're going to start and stop. No.
Now we're putting some more timber inside. You want to come inside and look at the filigree job? Yep.
Okay, so
we'll come and have a look.
What's going on in here?
I'll show you what we've come up with. If you see up here, Colm, there's watermarks. So previously there was some glass screens, but the water was coming straight through the filigree and running down the inside of the wall. So the only way I can see to stop that, or the best way, is we took all the glass screens off. We're going to put fixed glass panels, toughened glass on the outside, and dry glaze it with glazing bead, and then we'll actually move the filigree to the inside so you can see it through the glass. And then when they want to clean the glass, they can just unscrew the filigree and take it away. But to do that, we're beefing these up. So we're just putting some seasoned Tassie oak on the inside, and we're going to make that all line up with the posts. So the filigree now will be mounted inside and the glass will be the outside. So the water just travels down the outside.
So it's weathered.
Yeah. So
and it wasn't.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, which is probably what caused a lot of this damage in the first place.
Absolutely.
I mean, this post here had some rot in it.
No, the post itself was pretty good. It's all these bits were just, it was missing. Yeah. But most of it was good, and by the Barra Charter, we're supposed to leave as much as we can, so we decided to laminate the fillets into it rather than replace. Now, Colm, have you ordered the toughened glass for the infills?
Yeah, the glass is ordered and it should be here on Tuesday. Now, it did have to be toughened, so there's a couple of days delay. But are you still planning on getting finished on time for the painters?
Yes, it was another couple of days. We'll see us out of here and we'll be ready for the painter. Another section of the work we're doing here is to restore the deck, which at one point has been repaired, but very poorly. The hardwood boards have completely rotted out and the joists underneath were not good enough. So I'll show you what we've done. So over here, when we pulled the decking up, there was just little fillet pieces put on the side of these joists. These joists were completely rotted out, but the fillet pieces that they put on were only radiata pine, and they had rotted as well with the decking, which was not the original decking. So we pulled all the old repair off, we cut the rot out, and we put a two-part treatment system if there was any rot left or not. And then we've epoxied new pieces of seasoned hardwood in here just to take it back to the original joist. We've removed all the old hardwood decking, and we're replacing it back with the myrtle that would have been originally here. This section of the deck, the boards weren't meeting and it was filled with some kind of mess. So we cut all that out and we're putting a strip of myrtle down to butt our new boards into, but also it just tidies up the joint down there. So last time we looked at this, we thought that this opening wasn't too bad, it just needed some minor work. But when we actually pulled it apart, it was completely rotten. We've had to replace the timber underneath the threshold, the stiles, all this top rail to hold the filigree and the glass. The whole thing had to be replaced. When we actually pulled it apart, it was rotten. Originally the door was hinged outwards and it came out over this garden, which wasn't very good. So we've asked the owner if we can turn it around so it comes inwards and against the fireplace so it's more out of the road. And she's also having a counter here to serve tea and coffee, so it'll work more as a thoroughfare. The door needed quite a bit of work. It was missing, or a part of the panel was missing for a cat flap. The bottom rail was rotted, which we've replaced. It was the wrong length. The stiles, we've had to extend the stiles. All the tenons inside here were completely rotted off and in there. And the door wasn't a sufficient height to match the other door in the same room. We've put a fillet piece on top here just so it all looks the same. This is the last of our fixed sashes to work on. And this one, the original window, is still in pretty good tack. But what they've done, they've replaced this bottom rail at some point, and that replacement rail wasn't the proper timber and it is rotted out. So here we'll make a new bottom rail out of cedar. This one tenon has rotted off here, so we'll replace that tenon. And this stile here has some rot. So we'll have to replace just the bottom part of that. It's had it. So we'll scarf a new piece of timber into here, a new bottom rail, and it should be right to go. This section of the job that we originally took on is going pretty much to plan. We've found a little bit of extra work, but it's not too bad. And the owner is very pleased with what we've done, so she's asked us to tackle the deck, which is another 2 to 2.5 days work. So that's underway while we're here, because we've already set up, so we don't have to set up our gear again. So the job's going well. So Liz, the new locks meet the legal requirement and they're fitted. We've fixed the two bottom sills through here. The painters will just strip that now. The bottom rail and the stile has been fixed and replaced. And we put those blocks in, we put the two blocks in here to get rid of the rot underneath. Sam's touched up the glazing for you. This casement now, which was hanging off its hinges before, works. And the draft ceiling actually works really well.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Oh, there it is, there.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is solid.
Yes, it's not going to fall out on the ground anymore. Through here we've replaced the top rail, the door jambs. We've completely redone this door, which was a much bigger job than we were thinking, and I've put the extrusion in for the draft seal, so once the painters have painted, we'll put the brush in, and that will be like the casement.
Okay.
We had to replace the threshold, which was unforeseen before, and fix up underneath the floor as well. So it's turned out quite well, and then the decision to put the filigree on the inside and move the glass to the outside, I think will work very well.
Yeah.
We also have, where the old electrical light and wire came through that was covered in rot, we replaced the bit of post, most of the beam, the board that held it there, which was sort of unforeseen when we started, but continued on. Yes, I think once the painters are finished, it'll come up really nicely.
Yeah.
So, Liz, are you happy with the job?
Very happy. What we've got is something that will last for the next 100 years, not just a quick fix. And we're thrilled with that, and then it makes it worth painting, and it's a proper, very, very thorough and professional job.